All right, hello everybody. All right, hopefully there will be more people coming. All right, welcome to our talk for the BBA program. I think some of you might have attended the other talks earlier. Earlier today, there were talks about the BBA program in general. At first, there are also several talks about like different separate concentrations and isolation. And today, all right, in my talk, in my seminar, I'm going to talk about something different. All right, I'm not going to talk about the course. I'm not going to talk about concentrations or the program itself. All right, I'm going to talk about something more interesting. Okay, but first of all, let me introduce myself first. All right, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Lucia. Okay, so you can see Dr. Lucia Fong. I am the Associate Director of the BBA program. So if you join us in the coming year, you'll probably see me quite often, especially in events that is more fun than, boring classes and lectures. It's just kidding. All right. So so what I'm going to talk about today, what are the fun things I'm going to talk about today? First of all, there's one thing I want to emphasize. University life is supposed to be exciting. Okay. University life is not just about going to lectures, doing homework, doing your projects, and studying in the library day and night. Okay, that's part of it. Okay, I have to be really honest with you. But it's not just about that. All right, haven't you had enough study already? You're preparing for your DSE. It's going to be a tough year. All right. So after that, you got into university. There are more exciting things to do other than studying. Okay. So and we understand that in our BBA program. And we also understand that there's a lot more to learn than studying in the classroom. Okay. And also to learn in a fun way too. So that's why in our university, in a BBA program in particular, we've actually made something, okay, called experiential learning. Okay, if you can see it in this slide, experiential learning as a graduation requirement. What is experiential learning? Okay, so you may work very hard in your studies and you got a GPA of like 3.8, 3.9, 4.0. You did very well. You got straight A for everything. But that is not enough for you to graduate. We have an additional graduation requirement for you, all right, which is experiential learning activities. What does that mean? It means that apart from studying, you have to experience, okay? You have to learn from experience. And this is a requirement for you. You have to complete a minimum of 120 hours of experiential learning experiences, especially in areas where you will have to expose yourself to the global world, all right? International exposure, all right? So that is why the university each year will commit more than $2 million, all right, to support our BBA students to go overseas to get that experiential learning activity. Okay, so what exactly are these experiential learning activities that you have to do apart from studying in order to graduate? What do we mean by learning from experience and have fun at the same time? All right, so there are 3 types of experiential learning activities all of our BBA students have to participate in order to graduate. If they don't do it, they can't graduate, okay? So what are these 3 types of experiential learning activities, learning from experience? You can either study abroad, go on exchange, okay? So you can expand your horizon, learn the different culture, all right? So that's one way to fulfill that experiential learning graduation requirement. So that's one thing. The second thing is get some work experiences, okay? Do an internship. You can do internship either locally in Hong Kong in a local Hong Kong company, or you can do internship overseas, okay? Internship, get work experiences. And then the third one is called service learning program. All right, it means that you are applying what you have learned in your BBA program. You've learned a lot of business knowledge and skills, okay? And you use your business knowledge to help serve the society. That service learning program. So in order to graduate, you have to participate in at least one of these 3 types of experiential learning activities. But of course, you are more than welcome to participate in more than one of them. A lot of our students participate in at least 2 or even all 3 of them because they feel that it is very meaningful, it helps them learn a lot, it's an eye opener, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is the experiential learning activities, and each of these type of activities will give you a very unique learning experience, teach you very unique things. Okay, so let me talk about studying abroad, doing internship, and service learning program one by one. Okay, so first of all, okay, studying abroad, going overseas. I would say this is probably the most popular activity. All right, especially during the pandemic, we got trapped in Hong Kong for so long, so people are really eager to go. So this is a very popular activity, and also it's not just about traveling. Okay, of course, after you graduate, you can you make money on your own, and then you can go travel around the world. Yeah, that's you can do. But the thing is, like, studying abroad, going on exchange is not like being a tourist. Okay, you're studying there, you make friends there, you live there for extended periods of time. All right, so it's a completely different experience than being a tourist. So that is why it is something that you can only experience when you are a university student. So once you graduate, like 4 years later, you miss the chance, because traveling, being tourist, is actually a completely different thing. So that is why this is a particularly popular experiential learning experience from among our students. And there are a lot of different universities from all over the world to choose from. You look at the slides, more than 250 university partners all over the world in 36 countries. Okay, and actually about half of our BBA students will go on exchange for at least a semester, or maybe even a year, or at least for one summer. And we actually want more people to go. All right, but I know it's tough right now because of the pandemic. But even during the pandemic, there are still students going. All right, but just that you have to go through all the quarantine and everything, so it doesn't stop them from going. All right, so we actually want to encourage even more students to go. All right, so that is why just now I mentioned about, like, every year, our business school will commit more than 2 million Hong Kong dollars to support students to go, because we really want to push students out. Okay, and yeah, we have university partners from like 36 different countries, but usually the most popular destinations among our BBA students will be, like, for example, in North America, like in the US, in Canada, largely because these are English speaking countries. All right, but at the same time, European countries are also very popular, UK and Europe. So UK, because English speaking, we're very familiar with the culture and stuff. But at the same time, other EU countries, for example, are very popular as well, because it get you exposed to a different culture, different language, maybe even. And also there's one thing, all right, one perk about going to European countries is that you can travel across the border. Right, they will take the train, Eurostar, when they have time, during holidays, semester break, and then they would travel across different country, among the EU. So it was a lot of fun. All right, it's a great adventure. So yeah, these are, like, more popular destinations among the students. But of course, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's exciting, but what about money? Are studying, especially, I mean, some countries are cheaper, but there are some countries are very expensive. I mean, the other day we were talking about, like, a university in Sweden, and it was like, you can imagine, going to Sweden is, like, very expensive over there. And you'll be thinking, yeah, I want to go, but what about money? I don't think I can afford it. Well, because this is our BBA program, major goal is internationalization. We really want to push our students out to different parts of the world. So that is why we don't want, all right, it will be really sad to see any students who are eager to go were unable to go because of financial difficulties. I know it's expensive going these places. So that is why we provide financial support for our students. All right, and there are not just one source of financial support. There were 2 sources of financial support. All right, that is unique for BBA student. Okay, unique for BBA student. All right. So first of all, the university, like Hong Kong BU itself, all right, Hong Kong Baptist itself, if you got, confirm a place in an exchange in a university overseas, then you get a exchange sponsorship of maximum of amount. Of course, there will be variation. It depends on where you go. I mean, if you go to an Asian country, of course, that you probably get less than going to European countries and so on and so forth. The maximum amount you can get from the university is 21,000 Hong Kong dollars. Okay, it's not just about that. All right, BBA students, all right, business school, we actually provide another financial support. It's called a Global Experience Support Scheme or Scholarship Award with a maximum of amount of 19,000 Hong Kong dollars. All right, so there are actually two different sources of financial support for students. Of course, the amount varies depending on where you go, depending on how long you go there. But I would say that these are very generous, like financial support for our students, because we really want our students to go. All right, but just now we are still waiting. Okay, the border restrictions, hopefully it will be relax a little bit more and make it a lot easier for our students to go, because we do have money sitting there waiting for our students to spend it. So yeah, so if you got into our program, then don't miss out this opportunity, because you will regret not going. I mean, I'm definitely for sure that you will regret not going, especially when there is financial support for you. And so this is exchange, all right, going to study overseas. So that is the first type of experiential learning, graduation requirement, how you can fulfill that. And then the second type of activity will be internship. All right, so exchange is like, you broaden your horizon, see a different culture. Internship, all right, helps you develop another skill, which is develop your career. Okay, so the thing about doing internship is that you can apply what you learn in the classroom. So you're not just, you're doing case study, talking about cases of other companies, and then discuss with your professor, and then write a report. It's not just like that, all right? We actually get you to work in a real company, all right, in your area of study, regardless whether it's in accounting or econ and human resources management. So you really get real learning experience, and you can then relate what you learn in classroom to the real world. So that is very important. And then another very important thing is that how competitive the job market is right now. All right, economy is not good. All right, unemployment rate is hard. So the job market is very competitive. So you might get a really good academic results, but there are a lot of students who get good academic results. There are also a lot of students from good universities as well. So how do you compete? How can you stand out? Then you need more. The employers nowadays are pretty demanding, I would say. They don't want the fresh graduates to be like a blank piece of paper. All right, they don't want to take care of babies. All right, they want the fresh graduates to be immediately employable. All right, I don't want to have to spend time to spoon feed you with everything. I want you to be smart enough to handle the stuff that I give to you. So that is why getting internship experience before you graduate become even more important, especially in such a competitive job market right now. So that is why you can see that like the data shows that 60% of our BBA students, all right, some of them acquire more than one internship. All right, it does not require them. All right, the graduation, the requirement only requires you to take, if you want to choose internship, you can just do one, but they decide to do more than one of them. All right, I've actually got a student who did 3 internships, 2 internships in Hong Kong and 1 internship in Australia. All right, and you can imagine how good does that look on her CV. All right, not only local opportunities, we have a lot of local opportunities because we have like very strong networks with employers in Hong Kong. But at the same time, there are also overseas opportunities. That's actually a program offering internship opportunities for students to go overseas. Like during summer, they spend 8 weeks or so in some of these cities. Like just now, my student, she went to Australia, she went to Melbourne. all right, and many other countries as well. So if you go overseas, you also got a scholarship, all right, because that $2 million, the $2.2 million are set aside for overseas exposure. So it's not limited to exchange and learn. You do an internship overseas, we will also support that. So you can imagine, all right, having all these experience will actually look very good on your CV. So that is why our students are like extremely proactive, all right, in getting internships. They're really eager, and we do have a lot of opportunities to provide them. Okay, so that's internship. You get work experiences. Okay, so exchange, internship, and then the third one, all right, service learning program. Our university really emphasize this education philosophy about we want to nurture and develop students who can be a good citizen to serve the society, not just of course serving Hong Kong, but serving the world even, all right, if you have the opportunity. So that is why one way you can fulfill your graduation requirement is to participate in this like service learning program. So what is service learning program? So we have a lot. We have a whole range of service learning program. But some of them, say for example, the local ones, we can actually send our students to work in some NGOs. Okay, so you can apply your knowledge to help run these NGOs. Okay, because you can imagine NGOs, a lot of course, they're like big NGOs like Red Cross. Okay, but there are smaller NGOs who might not really have the resources to hire like a lot of professionals, right? People with business knowledge and experience to run their NGOs. So that's why we will send our students, all right, to help these NGOs. And they're like really interesting stories that I've heard, all right. Say for example, I've heard about this marketing students, all right, help this NGO because this NGO they need to promote their program. They have to do fundraising, but they're unable to attract a lot of public attention. So how the marketing students use the marketing knowledge to develop a social media promotion program for them, all right, in order to attract more attention from people to join their fundraising fair and donate a lot of money to them. And they are all very thankful for our students like putting their heart and soul and help them, all right, to do good to the society. So these are local opportunities, but there are also other overseas opportunities for service learning as well, and quite a lot of our students do that too. So yeah, so there are plenty of things that you could do. Although it might sound scary, oh, graduation requirement, if I don't do that, I can't graduate. But actually, a lot of our students, we don't even have to push them. They will initiate like, oh, what kind of like service learning program I can join. Oh, I really want to go to exchange. I will apply for it. I want to go to Europe. Oh, I want to take 3 internships throughout my studies. They are very proactive because they know these are important learning experiences for them. And it's also very important for the career development. All right. So yeah, so graduation, although it's a graduation requirement, all right, but it's not something that we force students to do because most of our students, like, they are very eager to do it all on their own. All right, but we want to emphasize the importance of learning outside classroom. All right, so that's why we put it as a graduation requirement. All right, so these are the 3 types of activities for fulfilling the experiential learning graduation requirement. But apart from all these requirements, okay, we also have whole range of outside classroom learning activities all year round, really all year round. Okay, these are not required activities, but we just provide for you. We are constantly searching for new outside classroom learning opportunities for students, which we find useful for them. So there are a range of activities, and there we continuously update our activities as well. So maybe I'll just like briefly mention some of them. For example, we have a student ambassador program. What is student ambassador? Ambassador is like you represent a university. So each year we'll select a group of students, okay, and then they will represent our university and the BBA program as a face of the program, all right, to do help us first of all help us do a lot of promotion, and also we all year round we have a lot of public events. For example, like we got like seminars that invite people outside of the university to join. We have invite like international scholars, renowned business leaders, to host seminars and talks. All right. So our student ambassadors will represent our program to, say, for example, to be the MC of the seminar, all right, that sort of thing. Occasionally, there might be even interview from the media, all right. Some years ago, I went to the radio station nearby, all right, and had an interview with the radio host, and we also invite our students on that radio show as well. So basically, they represent our BBA program. So this is pretty interesting. But of course, if you want to, be interviewed and then you are like going to be an MC of the event, then we will provide training for you. All right, how to speak confidently, MC skills, and all sort of things to make sure that you're ready. All right, to be the face of our program. So we have a career services and support. All right, especially for more senior year students, they will need that. I'll spend more time talking about that later. We support our students. You can see that our student got first runner up, all right, in a business competition. So we also encourage students to join business competition. Once again, I'll talk a little bit more later. And then developmental workshops. Okay, so what are developmental workshops? All right, but each year there might be slightly different things. All right, we'll keep updating our list of workshops. All right, but these are some of the more popular and common annual workshops that we often have. For example, developmental workshops, because we want you to develop skills that you can't learn from normal traditional classrooms. For example, communication skills. Of course, all right, when you are doing projects and everything, it will help you develop communication skills. But we have these workshops to develop specific types of communication skills. Right? For example, like we invite trainers, all right, professional trainers, all right, to teach presentation skills. So if you're really interested in that, I want to be more confident on stage, all right, then you feel free to join that. We have this activities like more of a game or a dialogue in silence. So like you can see that this guy was like wearing earmuffs. So if you can't hear anything, or you can't hear each other, so you can't talk to each other verbally, how do you communicate? So are there non-verbal cues? How to read people, facial expression, body gestures? How can you communicate when there are no words? All right, because non-verbal communication is actually a very important part of communication. So these are more specific types of communication skills training workshops that we provide for our students, which is very important, not just for your study, for your career, and for your personal life as well. We've got mediation workshop. All right. So outside, if you want to join a workshop in mediation, and sometimes they might even have like certificates like for mediation. Can be very expensive. Right? So we actually pay for all the expenses and invite like professional trainers and mediation and provide it for free for students. So these are very useful skills for resolving conflicts in workplace. So pretty useful, I would say. We've got time management skills. Okay, don't underestimate the importance of that. Once you got into university, you will realize that time management skills are extremely important, because just now I've shown you there are so many different exciting things to do, but you have to maintain your good academic results. So how do you juggle with all of that? So time management skill is actually a very important, I would say it's a survival skill in university. All right. And there are something more fun. Okay, something more fun. Wine appreciation, but of course you have to be 18 years old or above to to take part in that, or otherwise you're not allowed to drink wine, because you're really going to do wine tasting. And then dining etiquette. Why do we have this kind of developmental workshops? Is because like you will have it like either like maybe even during university, the 4 years of university, you probably would have experience going to some formal events, and after you graduate in your career, you might have to participate in like formal events, balls, that sort of thing, parties. And sometimes some events are really formal, and then like if you go for a dinner, and then there are like, all these cutleries and knives and knives and forks all over the place, and then there are 5 knives and then 5 forks on the table. Then you don't know, okay, which fork should I use? Or this fork is for eating fish, and then that fork is for eating dessert. Then you need to learn all that, so you won't embarrass yourself. But I don't know those stuff either myself. Okay. And dining, so dining etiquette is actually quite an interesting one. Wine appreciation. All right. So if you learn a little bit, about wine, what kind of wine, how to taste it, how to pair it up with what kind of dishes. So I think that's a good, useful knowledge, all right, for you in the future. All right. So we organize these types of things. Okay. And yeah, and also just now we talk about their career support, right? So especially for more senior year students, right? You're about to look for jobs, and and you have to go for interviews, or there you have to write your CV. Okay, you have to develop your brand image on LinkedIn. Okay, so at both the university and also the business school, they will have all these kind of workshops. All right, to help you. All right, help your job hunting, and we might also invite industry leaders. All right, to share with you, what is the job market in your industry is like right now. So that would be very, very useful information for you. And then finally, our students participate in like business competitions. There are local ones, Hong Kong ones. There are regional ones. So say, for example, we'll be representing Asia Pacific region, and there are international ones as well. So our students participate in all levels of business competition. Well, of course, on the PowerPoint slide, we will show you students who won like first runner-up, second runner-up, champion, all right? But to be honest, this is not what we're aiming at. Of course, if you win, that is a bonus. So that is why we offer all kinds of like scholarships and for winners, okay, champion scholarship for business students, competition winning student award, outstanding student leader scholarship. We have all kinds of awards to recognize students who did well in this competition. But the thing is, like, the aim is not about winning, really. All right, it's what you've learned in the process. All right, how do you write up a business case? How do you analyze a business case? How do you present your idea? How do you work with your team? And also, especially if you go on to like regional level or international business competition, you will be competing with students not just in the universities in Hong Kong, but also students from all over the world, and you have the opportunity to compete with them. You can learn from them, and then it would be an eye opener, because you realize that there are so many smart people in the world. Okay, and then it will raise your bar. Okay, so that is why we really strongly encourage students to go on business competition. We will support them financially. We also provide professional support. We will coach them, okay, for participating in these like business competition. So you can see that there are so many exciting things, all right, to do in university. All right. So, but the thing is, like, well, I'm a teacher, right? I'm not the one who is experiencing all that, isn't it? I didn't take part of the business competition. I'm not the one who go on exchange. So maybe I'm not the right person to talk about all of these, all right? Just because I work here, so that is why I have the responsibility to share with you all the information. But probably you think that I'm not very convincing. So that's why I think the better person, in a better position to talk about, how exciting university life is, would be from our students. Okay, so that is why, apart from me, okay, we have invited, one of our students. His name is Jackie. He is our econs and data analytics students. He's also a member of our student ambassador program that we've mentioned. So that's why he's our ambassador. So we have invited him today to share with us, okay, how exciting his university life is. I know, okay, pandemic, I know, all right, online classes, it causing a lot of disruptions in university life. But despite all of that, he still managed to get a pretty interesting and exciting university life. So maybe I'll stop here myself, all right? So maybe we will invite Jackie, all right, to share with us, all right, what you think and your experience, okay? So I will stop my sharing and then just give me a second. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank
let me
you.
share my screen.
Thank you, Jackie.
好啊，咁多位啱啱考完 DSE 冇幾耐嘅同學仔，大家好啦，我係 Jackie 啦。咁我會用廣東話嚟 present 嘅，咁希望你哋都會聽得輕鬆啲啊，同埋知道真係大學其實除咗讀書之外，真係好多好 fun 嘅嘢可以玩嘅。咁重新介紹多次啦，我叫 Jackie 啦，咁我係讀Economics and Data Analytics 嘅，同時我亦都揀咗 marketing 做我嘅 second concentration 啦。咁我今年就係 Year 2。我嘅性格係 ESFJ 啦，同埋我都係好中意睇 NBA 同埋好中意打波嘅。好，咁為免依家4點幾你哋開始瞌眼瞓，有少晏覺時間咁啊，我 share 一啲搞笑嘢俾大家睇啦。咁我咧就高195嘅，咁但喺前一排嘅時間裏面咧，咁我自己仲有一個長頭髮嘅金毛仔啊，咁我可以俾大家睇一睇呢張相啦。哇，好尷尬啊！要同大家分享呢個往事，我遮翻佢先。咁點解我會 share 我呢張相俾大家睇咧？唔係想話俾大家聽我有幾似進擊的巨人啊！喺呢個校園行嚟行去嘅時候，而係想同大家講，我今日嘅 sharing 係真係100%發自內心啦，同埋都係好真心嘅，好似食咗誠實豆沙包咁。希望可以幫你打破少少大學嘅迷思啦，亦都希望可以幫你增加少少對 BU 嘅認識。好，咁首先第一個迷思啦，就係大學5件事。唔知大家有冇聽過大學5件事咧？佢哋分別就係住 hall、上莊、讀書、拍拖同埋 part time。咁唔知道大家理想中嘅時間分配，啱啱都講過啦 ，time management 好重要啊嘛，基本上係大學嘅一個生存技能。唔知道大家嘅時間分配會唔會好理想地覺得啊，可以好完整咁平均分配俾呢5樣嘢咧？定係其實即係好現實咁講，會唔會最尾你留咗50%嘅時間俾你嘅男朋友啊或者女朋友咧？之後最尾啊讀書 part time 呢啲得好少嘅時間咧，咁同埋都想問大家一個問題啦，就係究竟個個都講大學5件事，大學係咪真係得呢5件事咧？咁其實咧就好似呢個歌詞咁啊，唔知大家有冇睇當時嘅 live 啦 ？No no no，咁就絕對唔係嘅。大學咧就絕對唔止呢幾樣嘢啦。咁好老實講啦，其實入到大學裏面啦，其實我覺得真係揾到自己嘅一個方向目標，再去參加唔同嘅活動，去裝備自己係好過去盲目咁跟隨大學5件事嘅。咁同時啊，即係點解我俾呢張圖大家睇，就係希望即係可能大家可能依家未入 U 或者可能入到 U 之後，開始諗下自己嘅嗰5件，甚至更加多嘅事究竟係啲咩咧？咁好啦，咁我 show 少少我做過嘅過往一啲經歷啦，或者我嚟緊諗住去嘅，例如話去exchange 啦。咁當然你我唔會 go through 晒，啱啱都講過啦，唔使盲目跟隨人哋噶嘛。不過我 highlight 咗嘅頭4樣嘢咧係好啱business 嘅同學仔嘅。點解咧？啱啱都講過啦 ，internship 同埋 exchange 都係我哋嘅畢業 requirement 啦。咁而且聽講咧BU 俾嘅 subsidy 好似尤其是 BBA 好似高過其他學校啊，呢個聽講嘅。咁同埋case 呢個 business case competition 啊，都係好重要嘅，可以俾我哋可以真係話將課堂上嘅知識啊，去實踐翻出嚟啊，去解決問題，咁去裝備好自己嘅 CV 啦。咁 student ambassador 都係一個幾有趣嘅活動啦。咁就係點解我今日會喺度同大家分享啦。同埋啱啱都講過啦，BU 大家唔知喺巴士或者地站見過呢個 BU B unit 啊，咁都係提醒住大家唔好盲目跟隨大學5件事啦，好似好 hard sell 咁。OK，next，咁都同大家分享下啲搞笑嘢啦。但係我住 hall 嘅生活啦，唔知道大家有冇入過 BU 咧？即係我知道呢幾年疫情可能冇咗一啲info day 啊，真係可以行入校園，或者可能你哋以前參觀過 BU 嘅，就 BU 有條叫做李作權大道啦。其實睇日落係好靚嘅。可能大家之後有機會入嚟 BU 都可以就大概知我講咩㗎。咁咧住 hall 難免都會成日開下啲心事台啊，或者通宵傾偈咁樣。咁我哋有一日就諗住去睇一睇 BU 嘅日出喎。點知咧，其實地理上嚟講 BU 係睇到個好靚嘅日落，但係睇唔到日出嘅嗰個地理方向。咁呢張左邊張相就係我哋影住一個冇日出嘅日出嘅照片啦。咁所以咧 都係一件好大頭蝦，但係都係好值得紀念嘅一件事啦。咁之後接住落嚟，我都會分享下少少自己過往嘅一啲經歷啦，例如係 orientation 啊，去帶領一啲 freshman，我係做組爸去帶領佢哋認識校園啊，或者係跟 BU 咧，其實有好多唔同嘅組織嘅，有個叫做 Leadership Quality Centre，咁我就上個暑假同佢哋去參加咗一個活動，係希望帶俾一啲來自貧困家庭嘅小學生一個大學生嘅大學嘅一個經驗啦，咁呢啲就係當中嘅活動照片啦。咁 student ambassador 啦，都有一啲 sharing 啊、mingling 嘅時間啦，同埋都有好多唔同嘅 workshop 去俾我哋認識下，例如話一啲business 職場上嘅一啲禮儀啊等等嘅。咁 term break camp 咧就係我哋大學有2個 sem 啦，咁你係學期同學期之間就會有個放假，咁我當時咧就搞咗就負責係搞呢個 camp 嘅一個籌委啦，咁都係一個好豐富嘅經驗嚟嘅。好。第二個迷思啦，啱啱講到，啱啱見到咁多人啦，咁多 friend 啦，我咁其實咧，大學係咪真係好似大家咁講，好多呢啲表面朋友咧？我唔知道大家會唔會打機啦。咁如果你有打機，可能都知呢3個人發生咗啲咩事啦。咁究竟大學啲朋友係咪真係好似中學咁冇中學咁樣咁單純啊，咁真誠咧？咁我對 BU 嘅 first impression 咧，其實就好 warm 嘅。點解咧？就係當初其實中學嚟講啦，我係即係我個班其實得我一個入咗8大咯，然之後仲淨係得隔離班有個同學仔同我一齊入咗 BU。咁其實我嗰陣時都好迷茫，唔知道其實 BU 即係大學係一個點樣嘅一回事。咁而且嗰陣時都係疫情啦，咁所以我嘅 orientation 咧就都係 Zoom 搞嘅。不過好好彩啦，我識咗最右手邊呢個組爸啦。咁其實咧，點解會有呢幅相咧？就係其實佢嗰陣時咧，佢嘅義務純粹就係 Zoom 同我哋講解下啲必須知道嘅嘢就算嘅。咁但係佢好好人咁主動邀請我哋話可以一齊約個時間返 BU 攞學生證喎。之後佢就帶我哋去行一次 BU，認識下呢個校園。咁其實呢個都唔係佢嘅義務範圍裡面嚟嘅。咁我就覺得我好 warm 咯，BU 嘅人。好，咁再者啦，其實我喺 BU 都收穫咗好多唔同嘅 friendship 啦。咁首先第一個就係呢個簡稱 CSU 嘅基督徒學生團體啦。咁我自己係一個基督徒嚟，咁當然啦，可能無論你係咪基督徒都好，我覺得呢個群體都係好即識到嘅朋友都係相當之真心啊，同埋亦都係我加深我信仰嘅地方啦。咁而啱啱都講過啦，我參加過義工服務啦，咁呢個就係叫 Summer School 2021。咁喺裡面咧，真係識咗好多唔同嚟自唔同科目啊、學系年級嘅朋友仔咯，同埋當中咧，其實啲職員啊都好 nice 咯，大家都係好一心，好想去服侍嗰班小朋友，去一齊促成咗呢個活動。咁其實真係好打成一片，同中學嘅師生關係，我覺得係真係相差無幾嘅。同埋我都收穫咗好多唔同嘅 friendship 啦。咁大學最特別嘅地方就係多咗好多即係 so called 鬼佬面孔啊，即係好international 識多咗好多朋友啦。咁除咗最右手邊個圖片之外啦，你哋唔知道大家估唔估到邊幾個係外國人啦？嗰個提示就係咧，一個嚟自韓國，一個來自緬甸嘅。我 hold 多一陣啊。好，就係左邊呢個男仔咧就嚟自韓國，右邊呢個就係來自緬甸嘅。咁都多咗好多機會講英文啊，真係。OK，第3個迷思啊，就係讀書其實好自由㗎喎，professor 都唔係好理你哋啦。即係呢2張 memes 咧，我唔知道大家依家會唔會笑出嚟啦。咁當你真正入到去校園之後，你就會開始明白到呢2個 memes 係點解啦。究竟 professor 係咪真係唔理我哋嘅咧？其實就完全唔係，啱啱都講過讀書好重要啦。咁第二，其實我覺得 professor 都好着緊學生嘅發展嘅。點解咧？咁啱啱都講過，除咗可能義工嘅時候，我BU 嘅職員啦，都同我哋好打成一片，好似師生咁。咁其實 professor 上堂咧都唔係齋go through 佢哋上堂要教嘅嘢，其實有時都會加好多人生道理啊，或者其實有時會講笑話俾我哋聽啊，又會分享下自己喺教書之前喺職業生涯裏面點樣去學習啊，亦都俾咗好多可能甚至面試工作嘅建議我哋。其實真係好認真咁看待每一個學生，好相信我哋嘅 potential 咯。咁我 Year One 嘅時候咧，都 join 咗呢個 Internship program 啦。咁其實佢當初係需要一個推薦信咯，一個 professor 嘅推薦信。咁但係嗰陣時仲係 Zoom 咁上堂啦。咁其實我都好迷茫。咁我諗起有個 professor 上堂成日想 push 學生去參加 internship 嘅。咁所以我膽粗粗咁寫 email 俾佢啦。咁簡單有啲交談之後，佢都好相信我，咁就幫我寫一封推薦信。最尾咧 就等我可以有呢個 internship 嘅機會啦。咁同埋咧，呢個都係一個少少嘅迷思，究竟讀 BBA 啊 business 係咪真係一定係最尾係會喺商界、銀行啊等等嘅地方做嘢咧？亦都未必嘅。咁我呢個 internship 特別嘅地方咧，就係佢會將一啲學生咧 send 去唔同嘅社企嗰度做 intern 啦，亦都可以認識下唔同嘅社會議題。咁我就去咗路德會嗰度做一個關於活化項目嘅 project 啦。咁我覺得都係一個好特別、好嶄新嘅經歷對我嚟講。所以咧，其實 BBA 都唔單止淨係得銀行啊、商界嚟講。如果可能話你想服務社會，或者你對呢方面嘅議題有興趣，其實 BBA 都係有好多機會提供俾你嘅。咁最後啦，都想同大家講啊，辛苦晒啦！知道你哋今年咧要係咁撩鼻先可以去考試啦，咁都真係好越嚟越唔容易啊！考 DSE 都祝福你哋有一段即係喺下個放榜之前有段好比較放鬆嘅時間啦，暑假咁樣樣啦。咁同埋都想講，啱啱都講過，我中意打籃球噶嘛。咁有個叫做 Chamberlain 嘅籃球員都講過，即係你個心有幾大，你嘅價值就有幾大咯。人嘅價值就有幾大，有時都唔好俾一啲可能批評啊，或者一啲數字分數，或者甚至一啲名銜啦，去定義咗你咯。即係都啱啱都講過，其實你揾到自己嘅目標方向係重要過你盲目咁去跟隨人哋去完成呢五件事、大學五件事之類嘅。咁最後都可能未來喺校園，我都希望見到你，或者可能你見到我可以打個招呼之類啦。咁今日我嘅 sharing 就係咁多啦。Thank you。
唔該晒 Jackie，係我其實識講廣東話嘅，咁跟住就唔該晒 Jackie，咁啊一定會見到 Jackie 嘅，因為佢唔係193，佢195添，咁所以佢真係進擊的個人，咁喺個 campus 一定會見到佢好搶眼嘅，咁樣就，但係我真係好認同即係 Jackie 講一樣嘢，就係 BU 咧其實真係一個好 warm 嘅 family 嚟嘅，即係我唔講其他大學啦，即我就我 sorry 我唔係 BU 畢業嘅，但係我自己好細個嘅時候啊，即係讀大學嘅經驗係冇咁 warm 㗎，真係，即係我入嚟 BU 做嘢啊，一個老師，即係我都感受到 BU 個 culture 係，即係無論學生與學生之間嘅關係啦，同埋甚至可能啲老師咧都係會好 care about 啲學生嘅，即係例如我咁樣啦，咁我都好 care about 啲學生嘅，咁樣就係咯，咁同埋都係一句對大家鼓勵嘅説話啦，即係其實大家經歷咗即係呢一屆 DSE 真係非常之唔容易，即係之前嗰屆或者再之前嗰屆，我哋都已經覺得係非常之唔容易。點知今屆係原來更加重重難關，經歷一個咁大嘅疫情。我希望冇大家次次撩鼻撩到個鼻損咗啦。But anyway，即係大家係好強大嘅。經歷咗呢個 DSE 之後咧，冇嘢係難到你哋咁就真係咯，祝各位希望 DSE 成績好啦。咁但係就無論成績點樣都好，即係都係例如 Jackie 所講啦，唔好為咗個分數而影響你哋，因為你經歷咗呢個咁大嘅 challenge，其實你哋已經係好 strong。不過 nonetheless，當然真係好希望喺9月開學嘅時候，會喺 campus 見到你哋啦，會見到 Jackie 啦 in person 啦，又或者可能我哋可以翻返去 face to face 上堂嘅時候，你又可以成為我哋嘅學生，我嘅學生啦，係咯，咁就多謝晒Jackie 嘅分享咁樣啦，係咯，咁我就或者睇下大家會唔會有啲咩問題想問下 either。我啊，或者 Jackie 啊，即係關於我哋嘅 program 啊，或者我哋啲 experiential learning 嘅 activities 啊，即係會唔會有一啲 question 想問？咁就我哋都仲有少少時間可以解答你哋一啲問題嘅，係咯。啊，同埋 by the way，我咧睇睇先，我應該。share 咗 screen 俾你哋先啊！趁你哋，如果你哋喺仲諗緊或者打緊你哋嘅問題嘅時候，嗱，即係我哋頭先做咗啲 sharing 啦。咁其實咧，我哋BBA program 咧，我哋都有即係如果想知多啲關於我哋嘅 program 嘅嘢，咁我哋有我哋嘅最 formal 嗰個 BBA 網站啦。咁我哋最新 update 嘅，我哋啱啱個網站做咗好大嘅 revamp 去 make sure，即係一啲需要緊要 information 可以令到大家好容易睇得到啦。個網站好靚㗎，去睇啊！因為我哋啱啱個網站攞咗獎啊，咁我哋就可以去睇啦。咁但係當然我哋知道，就可能有一啲冇咁 formal 嘅嘢嘅，即係例如好似我今日我呢個 part 係講一啲experiential learning activities 啊 ，university life 咧，咁其實咧就可以去 social media 揾我哋啦。咁我哋有 Facebook 嘅，咁但係我知道啦，而家 Facebook 係老人家，好似我呢老人家用嘅啫。咁我哋都有 IG 嘅。咁我哋有啲我哋平日我哋有啲咩 activities 啊，有咩玩啊，有咩 competition 啊，有咩 seminar 啊等等，我哋都會 post 上我哋嘅 social media 嘅platform 上面。咁即係如果有興趣嘅話，可以 scan 個 QR code 上去睇一睇望一望，咁樣就會多啲知道我哋每一日我哋平日係發生緊咩事啊。In University Life， 即使係疫情期間，其實我哋都好多嘢發生緊，都好多嘢搞緊，好多嘢做緊，好好玩。似乎大家又好似冇乜問題咯喎。咁樣如果係咁樣嘅話，咁我哋就不如就此告一段落啦。OK，咁係咯，即係如果有啲乜問題，其實都可以上我哋嘅網站去睇啦，或者喺 IG 留個留言，或者喺個網站會見到一啲 official 啲嘅email address 啊，咁可以 send 俾我哋問嘅。OK，咁啊多謝今日大家參與，咁都係 good luck with 大家嘅 DSE result， 同埋希望9月份開學嘅時候可以見到你哋，仲要唔係喺 Zoom， 係可以 face to face 見到你哋啦。OK， 好啦，多謝晒你哋，拜拜。